Alright everybody, so in this video we're going to be working on the receiver. We already finished updating EdgeTX and ExpressLRS on our transmitter. Hopefully those videos were helpful. You can watch those first. It'd probably be a little bit easier to watch those first and go through the transmitter first and then the receivers. Okay, this video is going to focus on the receiver. So we're going to grab our ExpressLRS receiver. Again, it doesn't matter if you have this receiver or a different ExpressLRS receiver. They all should be pretty much the same. Again, whether it's the PWM type or the other type that has just 4 solder pads on it, same idea. This one's a little bit easier to demo with because I can just plug it in to power it up instead of having to wire it up. All right, so the way we do ExpressLRS receivers, at least the way I typically do them, there's a couple different ways you can do it, is we'll actually use a Wi-Fi hotspot to update the firmware on the ExpressLRS receiver. And so to do that, basically what happens is once you power up a receiver, an ExpressLRS receiver, there's a certain delay, typically the default 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, it will stop looking for the transmitter to connect to, and it will go into what's called Wi-Fi mode. Once it's in Wi-Fi mode, it creates a small Wi-Fi hotspot. You then connect to that hotspot with your computer, and you can access a web interface for the receiver. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this ESC in here so I can power up the receiver. And when you power up the receiver, it doesn't really matter which port you plug it into, just to plug it in the right way. Okay, so if we see here, let's do it this way. We see here we have our channels, and then of course we have the little symbol here, S plus minus. So if we kind of take that signal wire as the lightest color wire, in this case yellow, we'll kind of transpose it around the side of the receiver. Whatever way we plug it in here, it does, whatever port we plug it into, it's not going to matter. We just need to plug it in the right direction. I'm going to use the one on the very end here because it's the battery port. You'll see it start to flash there. It's searching for the transmitter right now. Okay, so while that's waiting, it takes about 60 seconds. We're going to go over to our ExpressLRS configurator. Okay, so we're going to go over to this tool. All right, when we're inside this tool, just like we did before, let me make sure we see this okay. We're going to find our firmware target, okay? And in this case, when I'm recording the video, 3.3.0 is the latest, so that's what we'll use. You might have a later version if it's looking at this in the future. But now the target, instead of being our transmitter like it was before, it's going to be the receiver, okay? So the category is still Radio Master 2.4 gigahertz for this receiver because it's still a Radio Master receiver that operates on 2.4 gigahertz. But the device is no longer the TX12. It's actually going to be the ER5A in this case. So let's turn that back on for a second and see that. Okay, so we can see the ER5A right here. Okay, your receiver might be different, so it might have a different name, might be the RP1, the ER5C, whatever it is. Okay, we're going to go back over. Oh, there the receiver went into Wi-Fi mode. We'll look at that in a second. The fast flash is Wi-Fi. But in the configurator, we'll go over here and we'll find our ER5. Let's see, they have ER5A/5C right here, so we'll click on that one. Okay, so now I've selected the device. We're going to flash, and we're going to flash this over Wi-Fi. You can do it over UART, which is like a physical set of wires, but most of you won't have the tools to do that at home, so Wi-Fi is just more easy. Okay, so we're going to select Wi-Fi. That's very important you select that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to have this standard mode selected here, and ISM, just like we did on the transmitter, the US set of frequencies here. Our bind phrase in here, this is the same bind phrase we used to flash our transmitter. That's really important. They need to be the same. Okay. Everything else you can leave at default. All right. And then down here we'll get the this drop down looks different now. We're not going to worry too much about that, but I'm just going to go ahead and build. Okay. I'm not going to flash this time because I don't have my receiver and computer connected to the same Wi-Fi network. You can do that fairly easily at home, but on campus it's kind of difficult to do that. So I just go ahead and I'm going to build the firmware first, and then I will flash it in a separate step I'll show you. Okay, so we're going to hit build here. It's going to do the same kind of thing, load the system, and it's going to pop up a window. So let me switch over here so we can get that window captured on the camera. Okay, so in the ExpressLRS configurator, it's popped up here, and then it pops up this window for you automatically, and it says firmware.bin.gz. Okay, I'm going to copy this file, so I'm Control C, go to my downloads again, I'm going to Control V it into here, okay, paste in here, there it is right there, so I can find it easily, it's right there for me, okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I can minimize this window. Success, we don't need the ExpressLRS configurator anymore. Okay, it's important to do this build step before you try to connect to the receiver's Wi-Fi hotspot because you need internet access to be able to build the firmware. Okay, so let's go back here. We'll turn off the display capture. Okay, so we're finished with the Express LRS configurator. Now we're going to do the web part of this. Okay, so again, my let's see, oops, not that one. My receiver is blinking quickly like this, so it's in Wi-Fi mode. All right. If you are using the other type of receiver, you don't have an easily pluggable interface. Okay. You just need to power it somehow. So you can even wire it up to your aircraft, your flight controller, plug your flight controller in, let the receiver sit for 60 seconds, and it'll still go into Wi-Fi mode, even if it's wired into your quadcopter or something like that. Once you see the fast flashing like that, whether it's a green LED or blue LED, different colors are used, that should indicate Wi-Fi mode is active. Okay. So now I'm going to go for my full display capture here, make sure you guys can see everything because I want to show you the Wi-Fi connection here on my Windows interface. There we go. Turn the camera off. Okay. So what we're going to do now is look for the Wi-Fi network of my receiver. So down here in my Wi-Fi settings on Windows anyways, you can see I'm connected to EduRoam right now. Express ELRS RX. We want to click on that. Okay. You don't have to connect automatically if you don't want to. I have mine checked. We're going to hit connect. Okay. And I already have the password put in. But if you don't have the password put in, the password is all lowercase, one word, Express LRS. Okay. So just to see me type that, it would be Express LRS. That would be the password right there. You would put in to connect to the Wi-Fi network. Okay. Once you try to connect to it, you get an indication kind of like this. Depends on your web browser setup, or it may just open directly. Okay. But you'll need to log in like you're kind of logging into like free airport Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi. You know, you have a little login. You have to say accept the terms. Kind of that similar setup there. I'm going to hit Open Network Login page. Okay. And we should get a page like this. Okay. So this pops up here. We have Express LRS logo. We see the type of receiver we have. In my case, it's a PWM receiver. And you have a bunch of options down here. Okay. The firmware revision this receiver has on it is actually a non-stable release. It was one last semester I was testing some stuff with. But you might see something like firmware revision 3.1.2 or 3.2.0 or whatever it is. Okay. Whatever you're on. All right, odds are you'll be at least on 3 point something, hopefully. There's some special steps if you're still on a 2.0 release and you're going from 2.0 to 3.0. If you have that come up, just ask me, we'll figure it out. But if you're already on a 3.0 release, that's good. Okay. Down here on the runtime options, this is where you can adjust your bind phrase. So you can change the bind phrase here if you type the wrong one or something. You don't have to redo the whole Express LRS configurator process. Okay. You can just change it right here and save it. Right. Everything else here you just leave alone. You don't need to worry about it for right now. There's Wi-Fi settings right here, which we don't need to worry about right now either. Model settings here, which we'll come back to, and then an update page. Okay. So here is where we're going to use that file we saved in our downloads earlier. Make sure this is getting everything. Okay. As the firmware.bin.gz file. Okay. So here it says firmware update. You're going to browse, pick a file, and then you're going to hit update. So I'm going to browse to my file I just downloaded, or file I just saved in my downloads, firmware file. We're going to hit open, okay, and then we're going to hit update. It'll upload it pretty quick, and then it will take a minute and flash it. So don't unplug it yet. Let it work. Let it go. Okay, there we go. So it's flashing now. It's still pretty quick, but you do have to wait a second. Once it finishes flashing, you hopefully get an update succeeded message like this. It says wait for the LED to resume blinking before disconnecting power. Okay, so if we go over here to the dot cam, it has turned back on and is slow flashing, so it has turned back on. We can now disconnect power if we wanted to. I'm going to let it go back into Wi-Fi mode so I can show you guys the next step, but it'll reboot and go into the slow flash again. Okay, let's go back over here. All right, so we can hit OK here. And then you see my computer's automatically gone back to EduRoam because the Wi-Fi network turned off on the receiver when it was not in Wi-Fi mode. Okay. We'll wait for it to go back into Wi-Fi mode with that fast flashing, then we'll reconnect to the Wi-Fi network and I'll show you some other settings in the next video. Okay. But for now, we're basically done with the setup. Our receiver is now on 3.3.0. Okay. We'll verify that in a second, but you should be good to go. And your bind phrase is the same on this as this. Then when you turn them on, they'll instantly bind. Okay, there's no waiting, there's no process to do that. It's pretty straightforward. There's our Wi-Fi mode again. So let's double check we got the firmware updated. So we'll go into our .cam here. Okay, I'm gonna go to my Wi-Fi, connect to the Express ELRS RX again. Okay, we'll get our web browser popping up here for us in a second. We'll wait for it, wait for it. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna have to hit my open network login thing again. All right, there's my receiver. It now shows RadioMaster ER5AC, firmware revision 3.3.0. Perfect. Okay, that's awesome. Updated our receiver correctly. We're good to go as far as that goes. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is one thing that's going to help your connection work more quickly when you turn on your drone and your transmitter. Okay, so let's go into the .cam here real quick. All right. So my receiver is still in Wi-Fi mode. I'm just going to unplug it and then turn my transmitter on first. Okay. Okay. You're going to make sure you're in a model of your transmitter that uses Express LRS, which, all the models on this one do, but make sure you have the model selected that's using Express LRS. If you don't know how to do that, then let me know. There's videos about it, or I can help you with it. Okay. I'm going to then plug in my receiver. Zoom in a little bit here. Okay. And we're going to just power it up. It'll slow blink, and then it will fast blink, or then it will go solid, sorry, when it gets a link. Okay. Let's see, take a few seconds here, and this is what we're going to improve is this speed of how long it takes to bind. Okay. Should happen a little bit faster now. Let's see. Maybe I flashed it with the wrong bind phrase. That would be embarrassing. I thought I got that the same. Oh, there we go. Okay, solid. Finally. All right. And we have our little signal bars there. Okay, so that took like probably 20, 30 seconds. You're like, why does it take so long? Okay, I'm going to show you why. So here in the radio, okay, we're going to go into that tool that we set up earlier. Okay, so System, Express LRS. Okay, and here we have our settings for Express LRS. Okay, the main thing that makes it go faster or connect faster when it first started up is making sure your transmitter and your receiver are doing the same what's called packet rate here. So my transmitter by default is set to 150 hertz, and that's fine for all the stuff in the program. We don't need to go any faster than that. There's no reason to, okay? But what's probably happening is my receiver may be starting up on a different rate, like 500 hertz, and then it goes, well, there's nothing on 500 hertz. I better hunt around and look for whatever my transmitter is transmitting on. It finds it finally, but it takes a few seconds. So if we scroll down here to the bottom, here we'll look at this, other devices. Okay, click on that. There's our receiver, so we can access settings on the receiver through the script here. Click on that. It's going to load for a minute there. Okay. And we see down here the init rate. Okay. That's different. 100 hertz full is different than 150 that we had on the transmitter. So if we click on this and we change it to 150 hertz, all right, it's going to save that setting. Okay, don't worry if yours doesn't say S-bus. That's, oops, oh, I went out of, sorry, it's scrolling. There we go. If yours doesn't say S-bus, don't worry about that. Okay, it doesn't look exactly the same. That's fine. We just want to make sure our init rate or initialization rate, 150 hertz, is the same as, if we go back here, the packet rate for a radio. Okay, sorry, my camera's being a little glitchy there. Okay, so now, once that's set the same, let's exit all the way out. Okay, zoom back out a little bit. We're going to try this process one more time and see how fast it links up. Okay, so my transmitter is on the model. Okay, I'm going to plug my receiver in and see how fast it links compared to last time. Okay. Look at that, like 1 second. Okay. Much faster. You can only do that once you've updated the firmware to at least 3.3. I don't know where that function came in, but I know 3.3 has it. Okay, so 3.3 later, you can change that initialization rate for your receiver, and then boom, it'll be extra quick. Okay, you can do it through your transmitter, which is an easy way to do it. I think you can also do it through the web interface for the receiver, but I'm not going to worry about showing that to you right now. Okay. All right, that should help getting your receiver flashed, connected, and ready to go. Okay.